Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and to the garden. Today's video just going to do a brief February tour, sort of middle of February at the moment here, of my tropical style garden here in Leicestershire, UK. So stick with us as we take a little walk around, show you some of the projects and updates as well as we go along here. So just coming off the back here guys, we've got our Phormium. Again, with it being in the middle of February, guys, not looking extremely happy. Some little browning of the tips there, but this was moved and transplanted here in the middle of the summer last year, so I think it's still sort of establishing its roots here. Next to that, we've got the Sedum Blue Spruce, which you can just see down here. Lovely little evergreen, kind of nice, I find, is great little ground cover. You can see we've also have other sedums down in the bottom here. The Trachycarpus fortunei that we added last year, again doing very well. No signs of real damage here. Got down to about -6 a month or two ago, but really not seeing anything too crazy in the way of temperatures, and these are pretty good for those sorts of temperatures. Shouldn't really show any signs of damage on that side there. Just as we continue along guys, out into the center bed here, you can just see we're starting to get a bit of the signs of spring, signs of life. You can just see here we've got some of the bluebells and snowdrops coming up, things like that. Lots of weeds in there, but even this time of year is kind of great to get out some of those weeds, which I haven't had a huge chance to do. I'm working on some other projects. You can see the Trachycarpus princeps cross here, doing pretty well. It's been under this cover for majority of the winter, just keeping that frost off of it here. No real sort of signs of growth or anything like that, but with these being so slow growing, I wouldn't expect to see much throughout the winter there. Just as we come off here guys, and again this cover that I've got here guys, that will be staying on at least for another couple months. No real rush to take that off at the moment here. At the moment we are looking potentially at a week of quite mild weather, possibly even up to about 14 degrees C daytimes, which will be a definite change from what we're at now. But with that said guys, yeah, I'm not going to be fooled in taking that off anytime soon. We may still get some cooler weather coming into sort of March, April, so just keep an eye on the weather there. As we come around here guys, you can see the azaleas already starting to get ready for spring. Some buds showing there. The white variety behind it, again, kind of starting to show some life towards spring. Just as we pan over here before we move down guys, the smaller of the Trachycarpus fortunei. We've got a lot of these in the garden. Doing very well. Once again, no real signs of any damage or nothing. Growth coming out the middle. Looks like it's got 2 spears there coming up. Very healthy little plants there. Again, no worries or concerns on these so far. Next to that, guys, we've got one of the yuccas. You can see lovely little trunk on that one. And if you have a look here guys, one thing you'll notice with these sorts of yuccas, they actually do have aerial roots that come off the top here, which is again another reason why for transplanting cuttings and things, these are really easy plants to take cuttings of and do things like that, and literally just whack them in the ground. They should start growing from there. I've had no issues with those there. Underneath that we've got the Musa Baschu Cold Hardy Banana. Again, now with that one guys, that's going to stay wrapped once again until sort of May time. No rush to take that off. Wouldn't do any good, and if anything I might lose it if I did take it off too early. So again, staying like that for at least a few months now. Underneath here guys, we've got the Princeps is a Trachycarpus Princeps hybrid. Sorry, the one before was the Waggy Princeps hybrid. This is the Trachy Princeps hybrid. Again, undercover, really nice leaves on it. Does look like it's still putting out growth as well. So again, very happy with that. Just as we come off the back here, looking back into the center guys, the Dicksonia Antarctica tree fern. Again, we've got a little bit of browning off on the leaves there, but to be expected with the kind of temperatures we've had. That was fully wrapped during the freezing colds. But again, we've had a cold temperature last night down to about -2, but after that I'm going to be taking off majority of the covering, the fleecing on it. Again, just going to keep that only covered when I need to, basically, on that side. Have looked inside it as well, guys, and there are a couple new knuckles coming up, which is, once again, always pleasing to see. Down here, guys, we've got the Cordyline Astralis. Does looks like it's taken a slight bit of damage. You can see just in the middle, but no other signs of tried to pull on the spear and not really had any sort of give on it. So, again, I'm pretty happy that's made it through fine. Patch of the yuccas here, guys. Again, bulletproof in my garden. I've never had any issues with these. You know, the worst kind of temperatures we've had. Doing great, always looks fantastic as an evergreen. Down here, guys, again, just more signs of life, of spring. You can see the daffodils and things like that coming up. Again, just always gives you a little bit of hope that we are getting that little bit closer. As we come over here, guys, the hops, again, just looks like a ratty mess. You know, you can choose to cut these back, but I typically just leave it for a more natural look. It makes it easier for the plant to climb up itself again in the spring, helps it to spread. So once again, it's its own natural kind of trellis on that one there. Just off the back, guys, again, you got more of the sedums. Again, these evergreens, I'm going to be popping these all around the garden. Just like how it's, you know, little pops of green all year round. The Washingtonia that we had here, guys, as suspected, you know, that's done. That's no coming back on that one, guys. So again, that's completely gone now. Again, expected, not sort of, you know, concerned with that at all. I did not think it was going to make it through anyway here. Some of the ferns here, guys, typically these are deciduous and would die back, but again, under the cover of our large purple rhododendron here, which again is got lots of flower buds on it. It does seem to create a lot of overhead cover. Once again, it seemed to have done the job this year with the cold temps that we've had. Just having a look, you can see, guys, once again, loads of flower buds all over this. Beautiful, beautiful plant when it does come in. Just as we come off the back here, guys, again, into the center, cordyline clumps, about 4 or 5 trunks coming out of that one. Absolutely fine, no signs of any damage on that. Yucca Jewel, now this does look like we do have some signs. I'm just hoping the crown didn't get sort of completely ruined in here. And if you look in there, the crown looks okay, tiny signs of damage there. But again, I think if anything, worst comes to worst, I'm going to be trimming off the bottom leaves. The other Yucca Jewel, which I'll show you in a minute, under cover, permanent cover, has done so much better. So again, that's going to be changed for next year. Just looking back onto the center bed here, guys, you've got your Forestia, or Purus, I believe it. I can't remember the exact name on this one. Again, lovely colorations in the spring when the leaves comes out on that one. The bamboo grass, which again I think we're going to be removing this year, guys. You can see now kind of the reasons. I mean, I don't mind the white canes coming up, but it's just something else for that area I think we're going to choose. Next to that, guys, triple trunk shamrocks. Again, doing really, really well, always does. You can see the amount of growth coming up in the middle there. If I just pan into here at the bottom, you can just see how many coming out. Again, centers, really, really healthy on these guys. Just a fantastic looking plant all year round. Trunks there, again, lovely. You can see all the kind of base pups coming up here. Again, I typically will leave those in winter as is and then trim that all back down in the spring. Again, just kind of showing off those trunks again there. Just as we come off the back here, guys, sedum water feature and sempervivum, again, always looks great all year round. This water feature here, guys, again, I don't really like the stack style on it that I made again a few years ago, but at the moment, because the sedums have grown in so nicely, which you'll see in our spring tour when it does flower, I think I'm just going to leave it as is and kind of just work with it as is here. Right, so just as we come off the back here, guys, just to show you, before we show you the pond area, a bit of an update on that as well. You can just see here, coming back to this area, guys, Xanthodecia does think it's spring. It is starting to put up some green out of the mush clump there. Onto the mini golf course, guys, again, you know, once again, these are all kind of fairly standard evergreen plants. All of the Trachycarpus fortunais on here, again, have done very well, as to be expected with the weather we've had. Camellia, again, in lots of buds. That will be coming out in flowers soon. Just underneath, you can see the kind of cool trunks that I've tried to expose there to show off that. Just in the corner here, guys, off hole 6 of the mini golf, which is the lighthouse. You can just see part of the goal of that one's to get it up that ramp through in there. Then it comes out the other side, but you can't see it's covered in leaves. There's actually a hole back there, which if you get it in there, should come out the back and go in hole in one. Nadina cutting, actually done really well. Really pleased with that. No signs of any sort of damage on that. Again, this plant does really, really well for me. Basic rose there, again, putting out some new flower buds. Not really doing too much on the roses in the garden. I do prefer the kind of more tropical flowers. Just we continue on down the mini golf. Oh, and just one thing to show you guys, if you haven't seen on this Trachycarpus, I think it could be a slight variant. The leaves do seem a lot shorter than my other ones, all bought at the same time. So just going to keep an eye on that again, just to see kind of if there's any variation in the plant at all. Budgie off the back there, you can see has fallen over in one of the storms. Tried to prop it up with a concrete brick. Unfortunately, as you can see, hasn't really worked. That's going to get removed later on in the spring there. Just on here, guys, wisteria. You can just see lots of new flower growth coming out of that. I think that's going to put on a great show this year. And this one's for you, Mark. Here is the Sobaria. Again, beautiful flowers off the back here. I actually kind of forgot about it until I'd seen it on one of Mark's videos, so cheers for that one. Again, waiting for that to come out. May move this plant eventually, but again, kind of planted here, kind of forgot about it. So yeah, once again, cheers, Mark. Just on this one here, guys, the small rhododendron. Again, putting out some new growth. That was nearly dead when I got it. Hugely discounted at Morrison's last year, coming out nicely now. Little pot of bamboo cuttings, again coming out again, so I can't complain. That was literally just a piece of root that I pulled out of the garden when doing some maneuvering of the beds. This Trachycarpus, guys, unfortunately, because of the airflow, I think it is causing it to get some of the spotting on the leaves. You can just see that one, not very happy at all. Rest of the plant doesn't look too bad. It does have a little lift on the base, which is going to get that covered in the spring. Just panning around here, guys. Fascia japonica, these look great as always. Forestii cutting, again, stayed green, so I've got hopes that that will actually root and continue growing. Tetrapenix off the back here. Now, this was fairly green-ish, this new leaf, but last night's -2, I think, it's browned it off. Again, I'm not expecting much on it. Growth point still looks pretty good, and the woody stem there is nice and thick, so I'm pretty confident this is going to be you know, shooting up nicely in the spring. One thing I am seeing on it though, guys, it almost looks like you've got little offshoots coming off of it here. Now again, I'm not sure if that's going to be putting anything different out, but it'll be interesting to see. You can almost see on there. I don't know if it's going to zoom and hold it right. But we'll have to see. Anyway, we'll check that out in the spring there. Large yucca that, again, we rescued. Nice sized trunk on that. Going to take off a staking probably next year. Flower spikes usually come out of that in late spring, so we're going to wait and see on that one. The Phoenix Canariensis made it through last year. Didn't come back this year. You can see it's absolutely dead now. Again, unfortunately, I knew that was going to happen, but I just thought I'd leave it. Again, wait and see sort of thing. Right, guys, the Formium actually looking really lovely and pink and healthy, so quite happy with that. Another one of the trunking yuccas. You can just see the light green spike in there. Typically that would mean a flower spike when we get those really kind of light contrasting leaves, so keep an eye on that one as well. Tricolor heathers always do quite nicely. I do find they're kind of nice little side plants, again, undergrowth and evergreen as well. Just so we come around off the back, guys, as mentioned here, this is the other Yucca Jewel, which you can see hardly any signs of damage on it, and that's just had this sort of greenhouse glass temporary cover over it for majority of the winter. So I think that has really made a difference on that side there. Cactus, again, that one, it's not the right cactus for out here, so I'm completely, you know, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. That was really, really cheap, but I'm going to put something like an Opuntia back here, I think, for next year. One nice thing, though, I could just seen is you can just see in here, guys, these small sempervivum, typically everywhere I've planted, not undercover, have died. So it's a good indication that this year I just chucked them on there. To be honest with you, completely forgot I had. And seeing that they have kind of made it through all the weather gives me some hope that we can get those kind of dotted around the garden as well. Another kind of just unique plant. Butea, guys, just recently I've put a little bit of cover on the ground just to keep a little moisture off the base. Just so we do seem to be having quite a bit of wetness coming along here. You can see, guys, center growth coming out fairly nicely. Do have a little bit of signs from it looks like the previous winter's damage on the new fronds. We're just going to have to wait and see. It's been a real slow grower for me. But once again, spring should be on its way, and we'll just kind of have to see what happens there. In the center bed here, guys, now this is where some of the changes have happened, definitely since the last video. If we just take a look out here, guys, in the center we did have a pool, temporary pool in there for the spring and summer last year. All those patio slabs to the left, we're going around it in a semicircle. But what I've done is removing that, making a pathway down along the back here, extending this bed out forward, and well, to keep the wife happy, she'd like to have a playscape for the kids back here, so we're going to be putting some sort of playscape. I've got the kind of measurements, rough measurements, and it should sort of fit in this little rough area kind of in between here, and kind of sit in nicely. So I'm kind of happy with that. We'll see what you know, how that all comes out in the middle. Right where this patch is here, guys, I think with this playscape going in, we're going to be able to claim a new flower bed there, which I'm quite pleased about. So again, any suggestions or thoughts on, you know, something I think this would be like the big statement plan of the garden, being kind of in exact central of the garden here. So, and you can see it from every angle that you're at. So I think this is going to be the one to choose, something really interesting for here. Probably something with a bit of height, I think, as well, and maybe some underplanting underneath it, thinking along the lines of once again kind of layering, so getting something large evergreen, mid-level evergreen, and low-level evergreen, and then we'll put something perennial in there, cannas and a few sort of annuals as you go there. So something like that, guys. Any suggestions? Yeah, once again, let us know. Off the back here, guys, Musa Bastu clump. Again, fully undercover. That was the largest one last year. That one's a 3-year clump. Had quite a few pseudo stems under that one. Front clump here, guys, this has been the experiment this year to see how it compares to that clump. And as you can see, it's kind of turned to mush, but I have just felt on it today, and that is solid up to there. So we may actually have saved some height on these, which will be very interesting to see what will happen in comparison to that. So certainly keep up to date, follow along on the channel, see how this experiment goes. Just off the back here, guys, I'll step back and give you an idea. The large yucca triple trunk or triple head here, just see underneath, large trunk, and up there you got all the trunks going up. Again, you can see we've got some new flower spikes coming out of that one. I don't know if I can get in enough to show you. Coming out of that one there, so again, really happy that's going to be, looks like to be the spring on that one there. Baby Trachycarpus, again, this one's usually hidden by the onset Morelli. Once again, doing absolutely fine. There is actually a seedling down in there. It's really hard to see. I don't know if you can see it. Little tiny baby in there. We're going to see if that ever does put out. It's still green, so we'll see how that goes. Phoenix canariensis. Now this one is trying to be a survivor. This really didn't do anything last year, no leaves, nothing, and it's still, you know, spear pulled as well, and now look, got a tiny bit of green, so it's desperately trying to do something this year. But again, we're just going to wait and see on that one. Off the back here, guys, you can just see here, now this tee box, this is going to be coming out. Made a few other changes, which you'll see shortly here as we look at the rec pond. That's going to be coming out, so again, another plant for there. This is going to be a walkway through here. And again, kind of separating it all out into different areas. So any suggestions, once again, there, fantastic stuff. If you got anything there, that'd be really helpful on that one. Just so we come alongside, guys, just to pan off, the green bamboo, fantastic. It's really done well this year. This is all pretty much this year's growth, hardly anything there last year, a few tiny little clumps. So expecting this again to put out loads this year. Really does great as a kind of separator of the garden, and that's kind of the idea. We're going to lift up that canopy, show off all those canes, and again we'll I think it would be quite interesting, nice little feature in the garden here. Just we come around here, guys, now on the rec pond side, big changes on this side, so I'll just come off the middle. So you can see off the back here now, guys, completely different look on it if you're coming from the last video. So we used to have a tee box right on top there. We've gone away from that idea. I want the more natural look here. We did also have patio slabs going across there as a bridge. Again, removed all that. I want to go for much more natural look off the back here. You can also see as we come around, guys, we've lowered this edge of the pond. Again, trying to create that more of a sloped look down onto it. Still needs a lot of work done on it, guys, so this is not done by any means. But if you look here now, guys, by doing this, it lowers that edge going out, and so it means you can kind of see a little bit more of the feature in this part of the waterfall, you know, from different angles. So again, pretty happy with it. Any suggestions you got, guys? Once again, this is going to be fully planted up in the spring, going with some tree ferns. Had a few other great suggestions from you guys that we're taking a look at, and yeah, so very interesting to see how this will all change in the spring here, guys. Just off the bat, guys, the baby Dicksonias, they still have some green on them, so I'm pretty happy with that. The Cordyline, I can't remember exactly which one this is, again has done better. It defoliated completely last year, so we're gonna have to see if that you know, continues to put on growth this year. It might have just saved itself. Now down here, guys, it was sold to me as a Dicksonia Antarctica one. Now over time, I believe this is actually a Cyathea that was taken out. So again, I'm not expecting anything to come from this. Last year it did not put out anything. So again, I complained to the company, was able to get a replacement and hold on to this one. And again, as I expected at the time, I don't think it was actually a Dicksonia. I think it was a Cyathea, and at that point, with it being shipped and cut and everything else, there was no hope of that ever making it. Just in the back here, guys, 1 foot Dicksonia Antarctica, again saved pretty much all of its green. I'm really happy. I think the positioning here has really done a good job of protecting it from you know, the frost and things. Unfortunately, guys, you know, one thing that is a negative of weather placement, as you can see here, when the bamboo's moving in the wind, it really does a number on those leaves. So at some point, it may be the point that I move this one. Again, contemplations on that side here. Other bamboos, again, doing fantastic. The bamboos really seem to do great in the garden. I'm pretty happy with those. Now, guys, another area you can see has changed. We've added the floating pathway. Now, if you haven't had a look at this yet, we do some videos on the channel of current construction and everything. Very new project. Again, unsure if I'm going to keep it this way as well. It's just an idea to kind of create that feel of water sort of moving all the way down this side of the garden here. So it almost looks like we're kind of cutting in the middle of a stream or a pond or something like that. Again, unsure on this, and any suggestions, again, guys, certainly let us know. Again, we've got another little azalea here, doing fantastic, getting ready for spring. Moving down the path, guys, as we come before we're going across the bridge. You can see Heuchera doing great as well. Some of the normal sort of deciduous ferns, once again, guys, that look to be protected pretty well by the large Nadina here. Just as we come down here, guys, you can see part of the idea of this path, guys, is to kind of give you this floating edge going across here. So sure, any ideas, fantastic, let me know. You can see we're going to make a little stream system coming down into it. Going to use a solar pump to trickle down in, so it creates some sort of a little bit of a water feature to see as you go here, making it look as if it's coming from that top pond. Just as we come across, guys, the Japonica is doing great here. Washingtonia actually looks like it may keep its leaves. Again, another surprise. I think its raised bed position there has helped it, and the protection of the fence. Just turning in, new 2 foot Dicksonia Antarctica. Again, hopefully its positioning is doing well. I'm giving it lots and lots of water throughout the winter here whenever it's warm enough to, and it won't freeze through. Just as we continue on down the path. Nadina cutting, done, doing great over here. Pardon me. Just panning around, guys, and you can see from this area now, it does give you a kind of, I don't know, kind of a different feel, something a bit different. You know, it's all about the kind of views and point of views, I think, in some respect here. Just looking up, Red Robin starting to put on growth for the season. Again, always nice when that growth comes out, kind of a fiery red on that side. Just coming down here, guys. Again, we started piling this up a bit more. Going to be doing some changes here. You got the little baby Dicksonia, little potters, about a 4-inch trunk on that, 6-inch trunk possibly. Again, lost one leaf. Browning, but again, the rest of it seems to be doing absolutely fine. Just as we take a look out over the garden again from here, you can see, guys, sort of another angle of kind of what you're looking at if you're sitting in the chairs here. And over to this garden bed here, guys, you can just see the Washingtonia robusta clump. This is from B&M a few years ago. Actually has managed to keep some green. Again, I think it's positioning on the fence. It did nearly defoliate last year. Has put out some growth, so again, I'm just gonna, you know, see what happens with these things, guys. You know, it's kind of a wait and see on some of these. Now, the variegated Azalea japonica, again, lovely little plant, putting out lots of new growth, and you know, I just love the kind of daintiness and the you know, the variegation on that. I think it's quite a cool little additive to it, something a bit different there. Another one of the free yuccas, guys. This clump's always done well. Again, looks to be doing well, putting on a very, very small base of a trunk now, which is quite nice to see. If you just have a look under there, you can see we've got the startings of a trunk, which is this is one of the trunking varieties here. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes over the years. The Fatsia japonica polycarpa, or green fingers, that's gone in the ground now, guys. I'm expected to show a little bit of signs of kind of unhappiness while it settles in, but again, guys, I'm hoping that kind of creates a little bit of evergreen up underneath our laburnum or golden chain tree. This is once again another lovely flower in the spring. Certainly have a look at that on our spring tour. Over here, guys, we've got small shamrops. Again, this one's probably not in the greatest position, but it is just kind of trucking along there. So gonna have to see how that goes. Just coming down, guys, this water feature is going to be kind of redone in the spring. I've got a few plans and ideas for it, but again, we're going to get all these features kind of running up in the spring. Just stepping off the back, guys, you've got your large camellias, again, coming into bud. So I think this is going to have a great show in the spring. Once again, this whole kind of springtime show by a lot of the large flowers and plants and things really does, you know, make a change in the garden. Just so you can see up there, guys, that's our other laburnum. Goes all the way up there. Big, big golden chains that come down there. But with that said, guys, yeah, just a bit of an update, as I say, on the garden at the end of February. I'm hoping everyone else has you know, had a chance to get out and enjoy the garden, even in the colder weather. If you have not subscribed, certainly feel free to do so. Join our amazing community. Of course, guys, love all your comments. Certainly drop anything you'd like to know or like to know further down below. And with that said, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.